8 months after a first stimulus package was passed at the siege of a pandemic, a second stimulus package may get passed in the next 24 hours. That is what's happening in Washington. The second stimulus package will include a second stimulus check, an extension of PUA, an extension of UI, FPUC going forward, and another round of PPP. It won't be the second stimulus package you have wanted, but the Biden administration promises a third stimulus package coming in just a few days, shortly right after this. That will have MSC, multiple stimulus checks, $2,400 of SSI and SSDI. It will also have hazard pay and the big deal provisions you've been wondering about. The current stimulus package is set to go to a vote in the House in the next few minutes after the time of this recording, and then to the Senate, and then to the White House. But it only needs one House member to kill it, only one senator to kill it, and only one president to veto it. The question is, with a $600 stimulus check and a potential to not pay a stimulus check to adult dependents, and no FPUC retroactive, will someone step up and give the no? This is a major breaking report, the most important report you're going to hear on the second stimulus package in upwards of 8 months on Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad you joined me on an Afternoon to LALATE, and I thank you also for joining me on the impromptu live taped and live recordings throughout the day. There may be impromptu live recordings because there's things breaking around the corner, and I don't want to tape and then suddenly something becomes irrelevant, and I also don't want to wait to go live if something majorly breaks. So make sure you subscribe. If there's ever a day to subscribe, this is the day to subscribe. Go to the first channel, hit the subscribe button, also hit the alert button. There are comments online that I'm seeing currently, the bill has passed, it has not passed. The checks are on their way, the checks are not on their way. That it's already done, it's not done. They've already agreed, they've not agreed. That there's a bill, there is no bill. It's important you stay with me because these things are very complicated, I admit. They're very confusing, I admit. And the deal provisions unto themselves are also very confusing, I admit. So I'm trying to make it very simple for you, enjoyable, able to digest, and understandable in a way in which you understand that this is one of several stimulus relief you're going to get in the next few days. There's this. There's state stimulus that I'm working around the clock to get you 24 hours a day. That's $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. More about that in a second. And then there's the big stimulus package, what is going to be called third stimulus on this channel. I'm referring to third stimulus package. You're going to hear it first as that terminology. Third stimulus package. That's the big one with the $2,400 for SSI and SSDI. That's coming up in January. So subscribe to this channel. Also, like this video. It really helps in the algorithm ranking, and it helps in a day in which UFOs are taking your stimulus check. In this video, I have so much to go over. I'll give you the latest update on where we are from Congress. I'll go over the deal provisions. I'll go over the routing times of the deal provisions. Then I'll focus on what's going to happen shortly after Monday. Then I'll go over what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Then I'll go over what's happening in the first or second week of January. There's a lot of stimulus coming your way in just a few weeks. So I don't want you to think this is the be end or the end all, because it's not. I also don't want you to give up, because we don't give up on this channel. I also don't want you to roll over, because we don't roll over either. This is not Fido here. So there's a lot of formulating by the minute. And with that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that there really is still no update right now since holidays LALATE, which is why it went live with. But the deal provisions are starting to formulate into a cohesive focus, and let me explain where we are. By all accounts, but this is not formulated in etched in stone, so understand it this way. By all accounts, the potential bill provisions will look like the following. A $600 stimulus check for single individuals, a $1,200 stimulus check for married couples, a stimulus check given up to families who made individuals who made about $75,000, and for married couples that made up to double that amount. The number of dependents that would get a stimulus check, children dependents, appears to be currently unlimited, but that is changing by the hour. There was another report today that said there was only 2 children dependents. Adult dependents not getting a stimulus check. You heard me talk about that on holidays, LALATE. Adult dependents are set up to also be not taken care of for the second time in the second stimulus package of this year, not to get a second stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits and veterans benefits. Just because you're on benefits, it means nothing in the equation. It means nothing in the equation. The only issue is whether you're an adult dependent or not an adult dependent. Adult dependents currently in the talks are not getting a stimulus check, and children dependents are getting a stimulus check. Next, what about FPUC? FPUC retroactive, not being paid. Never being paid? Hard to say. Joe Biden is promising FPUC retroactive, more about that in a second, but this bill proposes not to pay you a penny for the 30-something weeks you have been waiting for FPUC since July. Retroactive FPUC going forward? Yes. What a price? $300 a week. How many weeks? For several months. PUA and UI? Yes, being continued. Even if you are inactive now, your UI and PUA would be reactivated and go forward for a few months. Next, the important thing to understand is that you need to certify for benefits on a weekly basis, despite what's going on with Act of Congress, because the UI and PUA would reactivate and go forward. Additionally, if your state has done extended weeks of UI benefits, this would fall after your state's extended weeks of benefits, so it would not be in replacement, it would be in addition. A lot of details, I know, a lot of details. Student loan repayment moratorium does not look like it's in there, but let's wait and see. Eviction moratorium looks like it may get in there. Mortgage forbearance looks like it may get in there. And then anything else does not appear to be in there. PPP will be in there. Money for state and local, for schools will be in there. State and local, not in there. And liability insurance, not in there. So what is the events that are going to happen today? They're proposing a series of events, and they continually propose something, and they don't meet the deadline. But what they had proposed was that that starting around 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which obviously has now passed, there would be a vote in the House. That vote has not occurred. The next call was to do a vote in the House sometime by the end of today, and then a vote in the Senate tomorrow, or as late as tonight, and then the president sign it tonight. Those timelines may not work either. What will happen is that the bill, which has still not been finalized, will be suddenly released to press and released to House members. As Representative AOC has said, the way they do it is they walk out of a room and say, here's the bill, you have 5 minutes to read 10,000 pages, and we'll vote in about 10 minutes after that. She says they literally put it down your throat. You have little and no time to discuss anything or read anything. What's important to understand is that there's enough in here to object to, and it only needs one no vote in the House to kill it. If it kills the vote, then what happens? Ostensibly, what would happen was that the House members' leadership would go to that individual who voted no and say, what's the problem? Why did you vote no? And the person would make the pitch. This is what I don't like about it, and I will continue to vote no until you fix it. What are the reasons to vote no? They're very obvious. 1, adult dependents should get a stimulus check. 2, the stimulus check should be $1,200. Those are absolutely categorically, universally understood as real big deal breaker items. The FPUC retroactive has not gotten a lot of traction. In fact, it's gotten almost no traction. It appears it is not clear why. Also, if there's no eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance, if you saw me on the House floor, I would be shouting no as loud as I could shout it. Those provisions absolutely have to be in there, but if they're presumed that they're in there. Now, let's say no one in the House says no. The bill passes the House, then it goes to the Senate. It is still not law. If it passes the House of Representatives, it is still not law. It lands in the Senate, and there becomes the big battleground. It's there that many people think that the bill could implode. It could implode if the two senators, well, the three senators who said they would vote against it, do vote against it. When asked for comment throughout the last 24 hours, they have refused to comment. When going to their Twitter handles, they've retweeted the item that they got a stimulus check in there, so proud of it, and then they say they will not support the bill unless there's a stimulus check in there, but they make no mention of the number, avoiding the discussion of the number almost on purpose. So what will happen when it lands in the Senate? Again, a no vote, one, would kill the bill. What will happen? Will Senator Hawley vote no? Will Senator Sanders vote no? Will Senator Warren vote no? We don't know, and they're not telling us on purpose. They clearly know that $600 is in play. It's been in play for 3 days. They won't tell us if they'll vote no. In the last 7 days, when presented a situation, they have flip-flopped repeatedly. They said they would not give an extension after the first extension, unless it was $1,200 stimulus check. They gave an extension. They have also said they would not support the bill unless it was $1,200, only to say $600 is a good start. Good start, we're at the end. This is the end of the second stimulus. We're on to the third stimulus package. So do you support it and vote yes, or do you vote against it? No. Ultimately, if it passes the Senate, then it goes to the White House. Last night, Donald Trump tweeted his displeasure with the situation, saying, I need a bigger stimulus check. Viewers have asked me throughout the day, what about executive orders? Don't need to do executive order because the easiest way to do it is a veto. Or the easiest way beyond even a veto is a tweet. He can go to Twitter right now and tweet, I will veto unless there's $1,200 stimulus check. Done. Then when he sends that message, the Republicans in the House, the same Republicans who supported him 2 weeks ago on appearing on the Capitol steps, would likely say, you know what, I'm not going to call for a vote in the House unless we switch it from $600 to $1,200. The president, by sending a very clear message in a tweet, I will veto unless $1,200, would preempt a House vote because then they know it's going to die when it goes to the president. It's important to understand that you can't have the bill go to the president and get killed because then you have to start all over again. You rather fix it before it goes to the president. If he sent out that tweet, the message would be loud and clear. What makes this even more confusing or more problematic or more contradictory is that Josh Hawley over the last 2 weeks said that he has urged the president to veto it unless there's a $1,200 stimulus check in there, and that the president has indicated he wants $1,200 to $2,000. So if that is true, why would Josh vote in favor of a $600 stimulus check to send it to the president, who he has urged to vote against it for unless there's a $1,200 stimulus check? In fact, if you are urging the president to veto it unless there's a $1,200 stimulus check, then why yourself would you vote in favor of $600? Contradictory, but yet again, viewers are used to this contradictory flip-flop. So if it does pass, if the House passes it, the Senate passes it, the president passes it, then what? Then what happens is the following. The routing times for the stimulus checks would be the following. It would land in your bank account about 10 to 13 days after it becomes a law if you are signed up for electronic receipt for either your benefits or the way you pay the IRS. Now, I'm already starting to see the tweets. I'm seeing the tweets that I saw when I first moved into the space in July. I just changed my bank account. The bank account's closed. I lost the bank account number. I told you in July, not to be an big old told you so, but I told you this is going to be a problem. I told you when we're on the 11th hour to get a stimulus check, don't have things go wrong with the bank. You're not going to get the check. Not to be a negative nanny, but this is that moment. If you have swapped bank accounts, changed bank accounts, closed the bank account, wife has the bank account, you don't have the bank account, I'm telling you right now, you're not getting the check. The check will get lost and you will be months on getting the check. It's going to be bad news. There was a way to fix this, and this was the non-final filing. This is what I talked about with the donut man on this channel. The guy who sits in the recliner chair and puts his feet up and eats a donut and says, I'll just wait till it gets in my bank account. Well, it won't get in your bank account if you have the wrong bank account with them. That's the urgency of the situation. 10 days or 13 days if your bank's processing times are slower from the date at which it becomes a law. If it becomes law today, then you would add about 10 days at least. Now, don't be literal that it's just exactly December 30th. It may be January 2nd, January 3rd. If you aren't signed up for electronic receipt, it would take an additional week for paper checks. That's for the stimulus check. UI, PUA, FPUC, when would you get that? Here comes the bad news. I started this channel on April 24th. It's our 8th month anniversary on Christmas Eve. And the very first recordings I said on April 24th to May 24th was that thousands of viewers were not getting unemployment benefits for weeks, if not months, when new unemployment programs went live because their computers are antiquated. Those computers have been slightly updated in some states, but are still antiquated elsewhere. The net result is that even though UI, PUA, and FPUC will get extended under the proposal, you may, in some states, not see a penny until at least February. Other states, you could see it in mid-January. Other states, you could see it relatively quickly. But be prepared financially to see a bad situation. If yours is a state that pays slowly in the past because of computer antiquated systems, it's going to be the same situation all over again. Next, what's happening after Monday? What's happening after Monday is that from then to January, the big push for state stimulus will continue underway with this channel. This is big money for rent stimulus, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Utility stimulus, thousands of dollars. And also food stimulus and gift stimulus. This is thousands of dollars in your bank account. That will be the continuing push of this channel between now and January. I'll also focus on how you ensure that you're getting this second stimulus, like the UI, like the PUA, like the stimulus check, because getting it will be a whole storyline unto itself. It's not always a big problem. Everything when you're getting money from the federal government is always a difficult issue. It's not a cakewalk. Then, after that, we start to focus on third stimulus. Third stimulus is Biden stimulus. Third stimulus is lockdown stimulus. Third stimulus starts in January. First, $2,400 for SSI and SSDI? Yes. Where would that be? Standalone bill, presumably. How does it calculate? $200 a month on top of your existing benefits. Do you have to do anything? No. It would go on top of your existing benefits and go from January to December. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans and seniors. Will it pay starting January retro? Is a great question I'm starting to get from viewers. There has been a lapse of action from the Biden administration. You would presume that a draft of this bill is already ready to go. You would presume that we'd start to see a draft of this bill now, not in January. You would presume that the bill is ready to get to a vote day one. That has not been set up. So we actually don't see any bill for anything coming into January now in the last few weeks of December. A little bit disconcerting. If you want to make promises of a down payment, let's see the darn bill coming in January. But would it be retroactive to January? Let's see. Joe Biden promises a lot of retro. So far, no one in Congress has given us a darn penny for retro of anything. Next, FPUC, yes, Joe Biden is going to put that as one of many things in what will be called the third stimulus package of this channel. The third stimulus package will have a third stimulus checks, plural, plus a third stimulus package. It'll be all wrapped together. Nothing will be standalone. Everything will be together. What will be the items? Let's get to it. First, multiple stimulus checks. How much? We don't know. How long? We don't know. What are Joe Biden's most recent words on this? Vague, 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 but claiming that you're going to get stimulus relief as often as needed until the pandemic's over, which by all accounts could be at least June. Of course, Harris, the VP, had wrote the bill, $2,000 a month every month for 6 months. Is Joe Biden agreeing to that bill? Don't know. Then how about hazard pay? Yes, $10,000 from January, $13 an hour of last year to 60 days after the pandemic. That's the way it was originally written. Will it be rewritten? Sure. What will happen? Will you get the full $10,000? It depends on the Georgia Senate seats. EIDL and all those other things I will be going over in the next video as well. And also the big grants. The big question as we sit here today is how much, how little, when, where, and how. For now, hashtag Senate vote no. Send the message out very clear. Vote no. Vote no. This is a junk bill. This is a junk bill. I'm not going to stand up and pop champagne and say congratulations. Other people may want to. You may want to. I'm not. I don't think it's a good bill. I think it's a crap bill. I think it's a slap in the face. Hashtag Senate vote no. Hashtag House vote no. Hashtag Trump vote no. Ultimately, we'll see over the next few hours what happens. Stay with me because this is an unfolding story and a breaking development. But join me next on Purple, which will go over the next round of stimulus, which has already been starting. That's state stimulus. Big money in your pocket, and that's money right now. And then join me back live on Bean and Mitch, in which I give you latest updates on where we are and your UI benefits. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay of LA for more.